हिस्ट्री। मैं आर.एस. प्रसाद। आज आप लोगों को चैप्टर 3 द इस्टेब्लिशमेंट ऑफ द दिल्ली सुल्तान 1206 टू 1290 के बीच की बात है, इसको कराने जा रहा हूँ। तो पहले इसके मेन पॉइंट्स देख लेते हैं क्या क्या चीजें हैं, फिर इसके बाद लेसन के क्वेश्चन आंसर पे चलेंगे। तो ये आपके कुछ मेन पॉइंट्स हैं। तो फर्स्ट से शुरू करता हूँ मैं। आफ्टर 1200 the Turks established a powerful kingdom around Delhi in North India. This kingdom came to be known as Delhi Sultan, and its ruler extended their control politically over the whole India. The word Sultan means ruler in Arabic, hence Sultanate means kingdom. Muhammad Ghori, he was the Sultan of Gaur state. Prithviraj Chauhan of Delhi and Ajmer. Battle of Tarain. It took place in 1191 between Gauri and Prithviraj Chauhan. Slaves, men and women purchased by traders to work freely for them. Kutubuddin Aibak was the first slave ruler. Razia Sultan, daughter of Iltutmish and the first lady ruler of Delhi. Balban, last ruler of slave dynasty of Delhi after Razia. The ruler of Khilji dynasty was Jalaluddin and Alauddin Khilji. Aibak started the construction of Qutub Minar and it was completed by Iltutmish, ruler of Delhi. चलिए कुछ मैप की बात कर लेते हैं। यहाँ पे ये मैप दिखाया दिया है, ये इसमें प्रेजेंट आउट बॉर्डर्स ऑफ इंडिया दिखा रखा है यहाँ पे। तो चलिए देखिए, ये थोड़ा जूम करके देख लेते हैं, आधा ऊपर आधा नीचे, थोड़ा सही से नहीं दिख रहा है इसमें। तो चलते हैं, थोड़ा सा एरिया में जूम करके दिखा रहा हूँ। ये आपका देखो, यहाँ पे पंजाब दिखाया हुआ है, ये मुल्तान है, ये तराई है, दिल्ली है और ये अजमेर है, यहाँ चित्तौड़ है। तो ये इसका जो साम्राज्य था, ये डायनेस्टी थी जो उसमें दिया है। यहाँ पे क्या दिखाई दे रहा है, ये कन्नौज है। यहाँ पे इधर क्या है, सेन किंगडम है इधर। तो जो पिंक कलर में दिखाई दे रहा है, ये इसमें इसका साम्राज्य था। चलिए थोड़ा सा आगे बढ़ते हैं, थोड़ा ये एक और देख लीजिए, यहाँ पर दिया हुआ ये चित्तौड़ है और ये चालक किंगडम है, मालवा किंगडम है, यहाँ चंदेल किंगडम है और कलचुरी किंगडम है जो कि छत्तीसगढ़ को बिलोंग करता है। तो यहाँ क्या दिया है, प्रेजेंट आउट बॉर्डर ऑफ इंडिया है, ये इंडिकेट्स एरिया ऑफ सुल्तानेट और सिटी है और डेजर्ट एरिया इसमें दिखाया गया है इस तरह से। सो आप लोग इसको देख सकते हैं। यहाँ पे चलिए ये कुतुब मीनार की बात कर लीजिए। कुतुब मीनार बच्चों कभी पास से इसको जाके देखना, इसमें कोई गारे वारे की या सीमेंट वगैरह की कोई भी इसमें चीज नहीं लगाई गई है, केवल ईंटों के या ब्रिक्स से ही आपको लॉकिंग सिस्टम पे ये बना हुआ है पूरा का पूरा। कभी मौका मिले तो दिल्ली जाकर के जरूर देखिएगा इसको। नेक्स्ट है कॉलम ए, गिव द नेम ऑफ सम रूलर, राइट द नेम ऑफ द प्लेसेस एसोसिएटेड विद देम इन कॉलम बी। तो यहाँ पे देखो, फर्स्ट में पृथ्वीराज चौहान दिया है, मोहम्मद गौरी फिर सेकंड नंबर पे कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक है, फोर्थ में किंग भीम है और ये चेंजी खान है। तो देखते हैं इसमें कौन कौन है, इसको तो आंसर देना चालू करता हूँ। तो ये है देखो यहाँ पे, तो पृथ्वीराज चौहान दिल्ली और अजमेर, मोहम्मद ये पृथ्वीराज चौहान का है, ये मोहम्मद गौरी तुर्किस्तान और कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक ये दिल्ली और किंग भीम ये गुजरात और ये चंगेज खान दैट इज द सेंट्रल एशिया। Next, list the name and period of the reign of the following sultans in serial order. Then write a brief notes on each of them. तो सबसे पहले बलबन दिया हुआ है इसमें, फिर कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक है, रजिया है, इल्तुमिश है और कै कैकुबाद है, मोहम्मद गौरी है। चलिए देखते हैं इनको सबको एक एक करके आंसर लेना है, शुरू करते हैं। तो पहले फर्स्ट को लेता हूं मैं, बलबन। So after Rajia, Balban became the Sultan of Delhi. He was one of the 40 slaves Iltutmish had promoted to high ranks. By now, by now the Turk amirs had become very powerful and showed no respect for the Sultan. They plotted against him and even began threatening him. However, the strong and iron-willed Balban slowly but firmly surprised them, breaking their stronghold on power and cementing his position as Sultan. Eventually, he even managed to win their loyalty. Balban was an autocrat who believed the power of the Sultan could not be changed because he was the shadow of God, his reflection on earth. He forced his subjects to bow their heads before him. Sajda, the touch of his feet, Pibos. In Sultanation, the Turk amirs followed his order because they were terrified of rigorous punishment he mentioned out. Second है Kutubuddin. In Delhi, Gauri slaves Kutubuddin Aibak was in charge of the administration. After Gauri death, Kutubuddin declared himself Sultan, becoming the first slave Sultan of Delhi. He began the construction of the Qutub Minar. Rajia Sultan, on Iltumit's death, his daughter Rajia ascended the throne of Delhi to become the first and only woman to rule Delhi. She dressed like a man, rode horse, and looked after the administrative affairs of the state, establishing peace in their kingdom. In spite of her many sterling qualities, the Turks wanted one of throne to whom they could decades terms, but she was no puppet. She set up a group of royal commanders and began giving high ranks to non-Turks. This incensed the Turk M's nobles who began opposing her and eventually murdered her. मतलब इन दोनों ने सबने मिलकर मर्डर कर दिया। इल्तुमिश की बात कर लीजिए। On Qutbuddin Aibak death, his slave Iltutmish, who was also his son-in-law, became the Sultan. He completed the construction of the Qutub Minar. Iltutmish faced two major problems during his rule. One concerned his own officials and the others related to the defeated Rajput royal families. Iltutmish sought to solve his problem by promoting 40 loyal and deserving slaves to high ranks. Many of them were made actors to administration different provinces of his empire, collect revenue and crush revolt. Kekubad On Balban death, Katrabad became the ruler, but he ruled for only 3 years, after which the slaves dynasty come to an end. Muhammad Ghori. Muhammad Ghori, the Sultan of the small Principality of Gohar, he tried to expand his empire into Iran but was defeated by the Shah of Khorasan, a kingdom in eastern Iran है ये. He then had no alternative but to turn his attention eastwards towards India. He gradually established his hold over Punjab, which brought him to the border of Prithviraj Chauhan kingdom and slowly conquered Delhi. Right short notes on. तो ये है अक्तदार स्लेव्स और अमीर्स यानी सरदार्स. तो चलते हैं एक एक को लेते हैं. फर्स्ट है ये अक्तदार. इल्तुतमिश sought to solve his problem by promoting 40 loyal and deserving slaves to high ranks. Many of them were made Aktadars to administration different provinces of his empire, collect revenue and crush revolt. They kept part of the revenue they collect to cover their salaries and administrative expenses. They were also periodically transferred from one province to another, but the Akta or rank was not hereditary. A son could not inherit the rank of his father. Slaves, traders would buy young men, train them in fighting and administration, and sell them to the Sultan. The slaves were given work and rank according to their capabilities. They were paid high salaries. Some capable slaves often even succeeded their master to become rulers. Amirs, the head of rich and powerful classes is called amirs. They play important role to look after the administration affairs. Rulers never opposed them. The first woman ruler of Delhi, Razia Sultan, faced the problem by amirs. Because of this, she was murdered. Describe the war between Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori. So answer is here. Muhammad Ghori and Prithviraj faced each other on the battlefield at a place called Tarai in the year of 1191. Prithviraj emerged the victor. Gauri was grievously wounded in the battle but managed to escape. He spent a year preparing for the next battle, returning to once again face Prithvi Raj at Tarai in 1192. एक साल बाद की बात है ये. The Rajput king defeated in the second battle. The main cause for their defeat was the role played by Raja Jaichand. What were the differences between the amirs of the Rajput and the Turks? So answer है पृथ्वी राज had a large army consisting of infantrymen and many elephants and horse. Several smaller rulers and the feudals as joined him in battle. Gorya's army was much smaller and did not have any elephants, but he had swifter horses, and his cavalry men were adept at the shooting arrows while riding. मतलब घोड़े पे चल करके ही धनुष को चला लिया करते थे. What were the main problems faced by the Turk Sultan? So answer है the Turk Sultan faced two major problems during his rule. One concerned his own official and the other related to the defeated Rajput royal families. Sultanate senior officials and the generals were not willing to work under him and did as they pleased. This weakened his administrations, taking advantage of the situation the descendant of their earlier defeated Rajput king began of opposing the Sultan. They stopped depositing the revenue they collect from the peasants in the loyal treasury. They began looting travelers and traders on the roads. This further weakened the Sultanate, as a result of which its breadth extended to only a few cities and towns. Why did the Turks amirs want to remove Rajia from the throne of Delhi? So answer is here. On Iltutmish's death, his daughter Rajia as ascended the throne of Delhi to become the first and only woman to rule Delhi. The Turks wanted someone on the throne to whom they could dictate, dictate terms, but she was not puppet. She set up a group of loyal commanders and began giving high ranks to non-ranks. This increased the Turk arms nobles who began opposing her and eventually murdered her. What were the causes of success of Turks? So answer is the causes of success of Turks was number one. Turks were victorious because the cavalrymen were expert in using bows and arrows and riding horses. They could attack swiftly in battle and also retreat quickly to save themselves. The battle tactics and the resources were therefore superior to those of Rajputs. Second, some historians believe that the rooted traditional differences between Rajput ruler was the main causes for their defeat. तो इसी के साथ ये लेसन बच्चों समाप्त हो रहा है. नीचे ये लाल रंग का बटन दिखाई दे रहा है, इसको जरूर दबा के सब्सक्राइब करें और मेरा वीडियो अगर अच्छा लगा हो तो लाइक करें. कमेंट सेक्शन में कमेंट्स करना ना भूलें और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा बच्चों को शेयर करें जिससे ज़्यादा बच्चों को फायदा हो सके और इस बेल आइकन को दबा लें जिससे मैं नया वीडियो डालूं तो उसका नोटिफिकेशन आपको तुरंत मिल सके. और मेरे वीडियो को देखने के लिए आप लोगों का बहुत बहुत थैंक्स. इसी के साथ मैं RS प्रसाद आज का वीडियो यहीं समाप्त करता हूँ. फिर से मिलता हूँ नई वीडियो में नई टॉपिक के साथ. थैंक यू. हैव अ नाइस डे.